Environmentalist Greta Thunberg is taking her stance onto the world stage like a true modern Joan of Arc. She addresses us directly, calls us to order, and urges us to act. Perhaps unintentionally, she is the metaphorical embodiment of our collective conscience, or the lack thereof. But from what conscience and knowledge does she act? From what 0 point does she proceed to change her behavior on Earth? Nature or nurture? Innate or learned? Do we create, or are we at recreation? The relationship between man and nature, or man as nature, has preoccupied the socially minded for centuries. Nowhere is the question of our relationship to our environment more clearly defined than in our connection to nature. Our actions are breaking the Earth system. We are out of step. In the Northern European context, the modern interpretation of the landscape as a discipline emerged in the late 19th century. Garden and landscape design in the Netherlands translated an American model for garden and landscape design into a clear spatial division in the relationship between city and countryside. Our landscape is cultivated into a far-reaching technological environment, protecting us from the water's threats. Efficiency gains and the land's rationalization and economization allow for industrial agricultural productivity. The condition of underlying structures, soil density, ecological diversity, the age-old course of rivers, is subordinate to this. Greta's message resonates. Hers and other voices grow louder, proclaiming our addiction to growth, manufacturing, and modernity is untenable. Our insatiable hunger for cultivation, domestication, and technological development is at odds with our idea of the self and its relation to untouched nature. We refute scientific suggestions linking our actions to environmental and climate destruction because they contradict our picture of the world. Either our responsibility for the current environmental destabilization is unpalatable, or we no longer know how to act. We either deny climate change's effects on how we organize our work, life, and consumption, or consider them too big to handle. We embrace the comforts of online click culture, but the distribution centers enabling this culture remain hidden within a landscape in which we spend our leisure time. We all believe transitioning to green energy is essential, but nobody wants a wind turbine in their backyard. Already in the 16th century, Amsterdammers protested against windmills protruding above the city walls, obstructing the view. These windmills, which incidentally originated in China or Persia, once considered as horizon pollution, are today's proud heritage. In short, viewpoints change, but our current perspective on nature is short-sighted. We long for a romantic and symbolic idea and image. But unlike nature, an image doesn't move, it's static. We tenaciously maintain the contemporary condition because we are scared to change. Is there a relationship between our fear of artificial intelligence's influence and an oncoming wave of nature's devastating force? Both are uncontrollable entities with unpredictable effects. Our imagination might be running away with us, yet fantasy and positive imagination are what we need right now. While we are faced with questions of re-evaluation and refocusing, we also have an opportunity to re-examine our history and actions. The landscape designers plays a pivotal role in this. Recent developments within landscape architecture make clear not everything can or should be controllable. Infrastructure, adaptive retention areas, ecology, biodiversity, food production, leisure economy can all be integrally linked. This embedding, however, requires vision, political will, and a long-term perspective, because when you design in balance with the land, you design with time. Landscape as Cult features projects, design practices, and artists that both analytically and critically examine contemporary society, using nature as a subject or metaphor. In doing so, their focus tracks perspective sidelines both across the horizon and vertically from archaeology to satellite. Such an interpretation and transformed view should influence a broadly supported opinion of nature, or even change how we question and understand the cultural implications or frames of reference underpinning our perception of nature. Saskia van Steen, Curator.